Oh, you didn't know?
Ocho Cinco, was he a quarterback?
Your ass better call somebody.
He's gone for the touchdown. Caldwell Pope. How about that one, baby?
It's Sports Entertainment today.
How did he win this game?
I hope this is bleach.
Take the hoop out of the playbook, please.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the College Football Weekly Matchup, Week 13. We just ended College Football Week 12. We had some upsets. Utah defeating Oregon, absolutely blowing them out. Cincinnati, I wouldn't call it an upset, but they kind of surprised me. It's kind of surprised me a little bit, but blowing out SMU. And then Arkansas almost pulling out the dub against Alabama. Pretty close game over there. Preston at work right now. A little echo maybe from speaking, but it's all good. I think it sounds okay. But Preston, how was your week?
It was awesome. Clemson is back. I don't care what anybody says. The national championship run is going to go back through Clemson, South Carolina next year. We're going to have everybody ready to go. I could not be happier. Taking on the Gamecocks this week. Another hate week for them. Let's take care of them. Put some chicken on the barbecue, and let's finish this season with the top 15 ranking.
Josh looks stunned over there that you just said that. Josh, how was your week, and what's your thoughts on that?
Hey, my week was great. I didn't have a great week in the pick'ems. I changed the pick last week. Went with Alabama when I had Arkansas, but it's all good. I want to go for an epic finish in our pick'ems, which is lined up for that now. So I'm going to tighten that up. And I think Preston may be right about Clemson being back. Maybe so. Guess we'll see start of next year if that's the case. But you can't really ignore Clemson, as good as they've recruited and as well as they've been the past few years.
Gotcha. Well, the records are pretty close right now. Besides Bryson, Bryson's a little bit behind. He is not here tonight, but it is Bryson's birthday. So you guys say
happy birthday, Bryson. We got an early birthday gift with his coach being let go. So I don't know if that's going to be either good or bad for them, but we'll find out in coming weeks.
Yeah. Bryson is doing stuff with family right now, so it is his birthday, and he's got to work in the morning. Last day before Thanksgiving, so he'll get off Thanksgiving. So hopefully he will be here next week. But Preston had a good week. Went 5-3, leading the pack, 42-43 overall. So he's one game under 500.
It's 2 weeks in a row now. 2 weeks in a row. Don't forget that. Josh, I'm coming for you.
Josh had like 4 weeks in a row, but we'll just put it there.
It's okay. What have you done for me recently?
Bryson, went 3-5, second place, 37-44 overall. So they're a little bit. We're gonna have to go by winning percentage because they're a little bit. The games are a little off from people missing and not giving picks. Josh, 1-7. 1-7, 47-47 overall. He's 500 exactly, a little bit above Preston. So it is tight right now, like you said, real tight. Josh has no room to let up anymore. He can't do it no more. I know he said he's been letting up. Can't do that anymore.
He literally had a 6-game lead last week and then finished at 500 this week. It's getting close for him. I don't know if he's a little – it's going to be close for him. I'm coming for him.
Yeah. Yeah, so, any thoughts on the overall week? Like I said, we had Alabama, Arkansas. Josh, what was your thoughts on that game?
Yeah, Alabama's definitely has some defensive problems. The offense is really not an issue. Bryce Young needed all of the record-breaking yards that he threw for, which was 559 and 5 touchdowns to win that game. Alabama does not have a very strong running game, and their secondary and their defense is sketchy, and they're going to have to figure it out if they plan to get. They got to beat Auburn first, but if they plan to beat Georgia, they're going to figure that out, run game out, because Bryce will get ate up back there if he has to throw that many times in the game.
Gotcha. Yeah, Bryce Young, incredible. Probably the leading pack. Probably the only one in the Heisman. He's the favorite right now, and probably I don't know if anyone's going to pass him.
C.J. Stroud.
I'm about to say C.J. Stroud.
Well, yeah, they're close, but he's still leading in the pack.
But I do want to point out that Michigan State. There's 130 FBS teams, and Michigan State is 130th in pass defense coming into that game.
Absolutely terrible.
So
Absolutely awful.
I really hope Ohio State's quarterback's head doesn't get too big because he's about to play a Michigan defense that's not ranked 130th in pass defense. And if they get into the playoffs, it's going to be even worse for them playing either, Georgia or Alabama or Oklahoma State hadn't given up an offensive touchdown. They've given up one offensive touchdown in the past 4 games.
Yeah, and it is a pretty stiff, pretty big line there for playing at Michigan. So, everybody thinks Ohio State's going to walk over them. It definitely could be a good game, in my opinion. That's going to be one of our games. But, Preston, any thoughts on the Alabama game?
I had a couple thoughts about the game, and after watching it and everything like that, I didn't have this overall thought that Alabama still could not be one of the most dominant teams in the nation. And I've said this for weeks now, when I was backing up Cincinnati and I was backing up other teams for playing close games. There's no problem playing a team close, even if Georgia played them and beat them by 35, and Alabama plays them 7 weeks later and beats them by 7. A win's a win. There's different circumstances at different points in the season. At this point in the season, Alabama's still reeling with the injuries that they have to take on, that they've played the SEC schedule just like Georgia, but they've played them further on. Arkansas has had more time to, I would say, plan for Alabama, but, they've had the ability to see what Alabama's done for weeks and know this is what their tendencies are going to be. That might not be allowed for when Georgia played them earlier in the season. Now, I don't think either of those, are major factors in the game, but I do, like I did say, Alabama, it seems like every couple of weeks they have a major injury or a starter go down with a season-ending injury because of, just practicing. They have to play iron, strengthening iron. But honestly, looking at the games, I can honestly say there's 3 teams in my top 4 right now that I don't think anybody's even close to the level. I think it goes Georgia, it goes Ohio State, and it goes Alabama. And I don't think, after the last 15 years of watching Alabama football, I don't think at this point in the season we're allowed to say, well, Alabama's not as good as Georgia, because they've proven it year after year that they're the team, that it doesn't matter what they've done or who they've lost to or who they, played close. Alabama's always going to give you a struggle. And, I don't have any issues with Alabama right now because I think Coach Saban's going to be able to have this team ready to go when it absolutely needs to next Saturday for the SEC championship game.
So what you're saying, Cincinnati's got no chance. That's what you're saying. They just made the top 4 and they got no chance. That's what you're
I don't care what you say, man.
You broke up.
I've been telling people Cincinnati needs to be in the top 4. Now, whether or not they can win in the top 4 is nothing else. Just get them there. Yeah. They deserve to be in the top 4.
I gotcha.
I would like to add something real quick. So, Clemson in the ACC, Alabama in the SEC, their other teams' coaches sign football contracts, and in those contracts, I'm willing to bet you that there's a bonus for beating Alabama and there's a bonus for beating Clemson. There's a bonus for beating Ohio State. There's a bonus, and Georgia, they are on the verge of going on a run, and they're about to find out what it's like to be the headhunter. You know what I mean? To be the one getting hunted week in and week out.
Very worried. Very, 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 very worried because Georgia hasn't faced, one of those top teams yet, in my opinion. They've blown a lot of teams out, but they haven't faced one of like Alabama or Ohio State yet. So we'll see what's going to happen there. Any thoughts overall from either one of you guys on the blowouts? You had Utah. I know you guys mentioned Ohio State. Utah blowing out Oregon. Any thoughts on those games? Any thoughts on that game?
I knew that was going to happen.
Josh says he saw it coming. I didn't see it coming.
That was my lock of the week. Utah had been playing great, and Oregon had been barely hanging on. I do look for Oregon to bounce back this week in the Civil War. But, I seen that one coming. What I did not see coming, and I know that they were going to get beat, was Georgia Tech getting beat the way that they did against Notre Dame, 55-0. That was horrible for Georgia.
But that's very typical of Notre Dame, okay? They have one loss in the season, or maybe they're undefeated, being an independent team. They always seem to turn it on when they need to, especially with the playoffs coming around the corner. They always seem to do this, and they sneak their way into the playoffs. And, even though they beat a Georgia Tech by 55, they lose to Alabama by 47. So I think this it's not really indicative of, let's say, that they're an elite team, because realistically, Georgia Tech should have lost by 55 or more.
I was just kind of surprised that Georgia Tech didn't put up more fight than that. But yeah, Notre Dame gets to sit home next week after they travel to Stanford this week and play. And Notre Dame gets to sit home, which is not beneficiary for them, if you ask me. If they were already in the top 4, it would be. But sitting outside the top 4, you're going to need to show them something, and they're not going to have the opportunity to show anybody anything.
Gotcha. And overall, last little thing. I know Cincinnati was just put into the top 4 as far from what I know in the announcements. Do you guys really think Cincinnati will get in now? Are they going to get in the playoff? Josh, do you think they're going to get in?
All right, so the only scenario that I see them not getting in is Alabama beating Georgia, Ohio State winning the Big Ten, and Oklahoma or Oklahoma State winning the Big 12 with 1 loss. Then the committee has to decide, do they want to send Cincinnati in at 4 or the Big 12 1-loss champion at 4? Because if Georgia beats Alabama, Alabama will go to number 1, providing they beat Auburn this Saturday. It would be Georgia at 3, Ohio State at 2, and who gets that 4th spot will be between Cincinnati and the 1-loss Big 12 champ. And that scenario is very possible to happen. Any other scenario, Cincinnati's in. I could see them even actually squeezing in up to number 3.
Preston, any thoughts?
Yeah, I kind of slightly differ from what Josh just said, because even if Alabama beats Georgia and that Alabama's your SEC champion and they have both 1 loss, I think you have Georgia and Alabama, they're in, okay? If Ohio State takes care of the Big Ten and they win out, they beat Michigan, win the Big Ten championship, that takes care of Michigan. So Michigan's not going to jump up. They're not going to, even if it's a close loss, they're not going to move up because of where they're at. So you have Michigan or Ohio State at, I think in this situation, if they win the Big Ten and Georgia beats or loses Alabama, the 1, 2, 3, you have to figure those teams out. And the only scenario that I see Cincinnati not getting into the top 4, even if they win out, is if Oklahoma State wins the Big 12 and beats Oklahoma this Saturday and then wins the Big 12 the following Saturday. I can see the Big 12 champion if only it is Oklahoma State getting into that 4th position. But as of right now, there isn't another team in the top 4 that has a more impressive win than Cincinnati. And while I think they're 103rd ranked schedule, is hindering them a little bit, the best win so far of the top 4 teams is allowing them to be in that 4th position. So I feel like unless there's absolute mayhem, things will take care of itself. I would be pretty surefire to say you could put some money on Cincinnati to make the top 4, and I wouldn't lose any sleep about it, because the likelihood of all of those things happening and then Cincinnati being left out could happen, but it's slim to none right now.
Gotcha. All right. Well, let's move on. Let's go to the player of the week. Do you guys have a player you forgot? Josh, I can already tell he forgot. It's all good.
I got it written down.
Okay. You look like you. Why'd you do that?
He doesn't have my player of the week, because my player of the week is probably going to be the best player of the week for all the weeks.
Yeah. We'll let you go first then, Josh. Week 13, what's your player of the week? Or week 12, excuse me.
Give me Louisville's quarterback, Malik Cunningham. Let's see. Let me see what I wrote down here, what he did. 18 to 25, 303 yards, 5 touchdowns, 11 carries, 224 yards rushing, and 2 touchdowns. So 7 total touchdowns, 527 total yards of offense.
Who'd they beat?
Duke.
Gotcha. Preston, top that. What's your player of the week?
My player of the week, I got to find it. I just had it. I'm sorry.
It's Stroud. It's got to be Stroud.
Oh, it is Stroud, but I
thought it was Stroud. You had Stroud last week too.
I did have Stroud.
That's in the first half.
Yeah. So CJ Stroud went 32 of 35 for 432 yards and 6 passing touchdowns. Now, yes, Josh alluded to earlier that this is the absolute worst pass rush and defense that there is in college football. Okay, Akron, Tulane, Clemson, Georgia, everybody's ahead of them. Okay, they're the absolute worst unit of defensive backs and safeties to stop the quarterback from passing the ball. Absolutely understand that, but they were the 7th ranked team, and I don't care what anybody says. when Ohio State and C.J. Stroud have needed to make the best plays they can make and make the explosive plays, they have made them. Okay, the only time they have fluctuated this season was Minnesota, and it was Ohio and Oregon. Besides that, they've been lights out each week, and I think that's why they're in the top 4. I think they're in the driver's seat, and the only way they don't make the national championship game is if they, mess up their own way from here to then. Because I think they're looking like they're the second best team right now in college football. I think C.J. Stroud is, a very sure candidate to be in the Heisman race, and I think it's looking really good and really bright for the Ohio State Buckeyes right now.
All right, I'm surprised what Josh didn't do. I don't know how do you not put 31 for 40, 559 yards and 5 touchdowns from Bryce Young against an Arkansas defense as your player of the week? Come on, man. I mean, I thought that's definitely where he was going. No interceptions either.
Yeah,
I guess
he played lights out. He took some sacks though. It kind of makes me mad that he doesn't take off running sooner. He likes to keep his eyes downfield, but he'll have his opportunity in 2 weeks to shine and ice the Heisman. And don't can't sleep on Auburn, even though Bo Nix is out. There's something different in the water in Auburn, in the dirt, in their blood. They breathe and they live to beat Alabama. The national championship is Alabama's national championship. The Iron Bowl is Auburn's national championship, and they will pull out all the stops. Nick Saban at LSU and at Alabama is 59-10 on the road in SEC games. Other than Auburn, he's 3-7 at Auburn.
Gotcha.
In LSU and Alabama, so it's not an easy place for his teams to win either.
Gotcha. Well, we have a lot of good games on the card this week. Before we get into that, I have a little one, not very long, but does either one of you guys have a rant of the week? Preston, look like you have one. Go ahead, go for it.
Okay, so it's last Wednesday. I'm going over to Chris's house to, make some content for the YouTube channel, just to hang out and play some video games. Okay. I asked him, I said, "Hey, Chris, what do you want? I'm going to pick up some food on the way there." We both agree to some Popeyes. Okay. We want the Popeyes chicken sandwiches. Okay. It's still a very popular item, very good item. He tells me not to go to the one on Bel Air Road because I'm going to be sitting there for a long time. I told him, "Oh, no, it's fine. 15, 20 minutes, whatever." I was there for almost an hour. Okay. And the guy had my food sitting next to him for like 3 or 4 minutes and I even whispered to myself, I said, "That better not be my food." Then the dude turns around, grabs it and gives it to me. "Here's your food." I'm like, why was I sitting here? It's sitting right there. Why didn't you just hand it to me? But whatever. I rest my case. I will never go to that Popeyes again. Food was okay. A little cold, but you know what? I had to wait for it. So
I warned him. I've waited for 3 people in front of me. I've waited 45 minutes in that Popeyes before. I mean, that Popeyes is the worst Popeyes. I don't know how they are where Josh is. I don't know how many Popeyes you guys have, but they're all of one. I mean, a couple of them here are pretty bad. That one's the worst. Just not the fastest in the world.
We got some Popeyes around here, but yeah. So last night on my way back from seeing your brother over in Griffin, my wife said she wanted something sweet to eat. So I was like, okay, well, I'll swing by Burger King and I'll get us, a couple milkshakes, couple pieces of pie. I pull up to the drive-through window or the drive-through order screen, and I sit there for 5 minutes without anybody saying anything. Nobody's there. Nobody's around. Nobody says anything. So I decide to pull up to the first window, and I pull up to the first window, and she opens the window, and she's like, "Yeah." I was like, "I just been sitting back here. Nobody's saying nothing. I'm going to pull up here. Can you take my order here?" She's like, "Yeah, what do you want?" And I said, "Well, I want 2 pieces of pie, and I want a milkshake. 2 milkshake." "Oh, well, the ice cream machine is not. We're not
okay." McDonald's.
Like they shut down the ice cream machine before it's time to start. So I ended up just having to go into the store that the Burger King's attached to and get some chocolate milks and some sweet stuff to bring home. But yeah, that was real frustrating to sit at the drive-through window without anything, and then for them to have the ice cream machine.
I feel like that happens. I feel like that happens to me.
An hour and a half before they close.
Yeah, I feel like that happens to me very often. But I have a rant. It's not nothing to do with food. It's football a little bit. At the Thompson game, Thompson High School, they're still in it. They won 14-7 over dang, can't even remember the team. But they're advancing to the quarterfinals this weekend. They play Friday, Appleton County. I'm going to be out there again. But anyway, I'm halftime. I'm going up to the press box because I'm not sitting in the press box this week because there's a bunch of radio stations up there. So I'm sitting in the stand, sitting up top so I can see the game at the 50-yard line. And I go in to use the bathroom for a second, and all of a sudden, I see this mom. One of the parents was mad, upset because the backup quarterback had came in because the starting quarterback was out for a play. Came in on like third down, and I think it was like third down and 20 something. Came in just because the starting quarterback, who is a star, he averages like 4 or 5 touchdowns a game, had to be out of the game for a couple plays because he went down for a second. Well, the mom gets all upset. My kid needs more playing time. Da, 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 da. My kid needs more playing time. Mind you, this is the playoff time. You don't need to put him in when it's third down. Da, da, da. She's telling one of these, I think it was like a coach. I'm not sure if it was a coach or somebody in the press box. I hate to tell you, you're behind the star quarterback. You're not playing. It's the playoffs. You ain't playing. So, I mean, that just aggravated the crap out of me. You're not going to play. I'm sorry. You're facing one of the top quarterbacks left in the 3A in Georgia high school state playoffs. This dude's a quarterback, a wide receiver. He plays corner. He plays running back some. I mean, you're not going to start over him. So it just aggravated me. I'm not going to elaborate anymore on it. But, yeah, that's my rant of the week. I know Josh can probably – he's probably can – I don't know if he can relate that a little bit, but he does high school football too. But you know,
yeah, I can relate to that with Little League Baseball.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So.
All right, so that was the rant of the week. We're getting into the upcoming games here. We do have a Thanksgiving game, a college football Thanksgiving game. I'm more of an NFL guy on Thanksgiving, but we do have a college game this week. First game up, it's a Thursday game. I believe it's at 7:30. Ole Miss at Mississippi State. Mississippi State favored by 1.5. I believe that's right. Mississippi State favored by 1.5. That's what I wrote. Yeah. So Preston, we're coming to you first. Who do you got in this game?
You said it is the Ole Miss Mississippi State game?
Yes.
I just don't understand. Like, I understand it's a rivalry game, but I don't understand how Mississippi State is favored. I know it's in Mississippi State, but give me Ole Miss. There's no way I don't take Ole Miss here.
Gotcha. He's taking Ole Miss. You know, Mississippi State, all their games have been pretty close from what I heard. I hadn't watched much of Mississippi State. I've saw a few games, but I've looked at, some of their games, and most of their games, the ones they've lost have not been by much. But Josh, who do you have in this game?
Yeah, so Mississippi State puts up ungodly offensive numbers with Mike Leach calling the plays over there. I just want to pull up something real quick. Let me see. Will Rogers has passed for 4,113 yards and 34 touchdowns for Mississippi State. That's crazy. 4,000 plus yards. Ole Miss doesn't have very good defense. I'm going to go with Ole Miss, though. Mississippi State's not even ranked. Ole Miss is ranked in the top 10. Gotcha. Mississippi State 7-4. Ole Miss 9-2. Matt Corral, his last game. I think he's going to really try to show out. Try to drive up that draft stock. I'm going to go with Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin.
All right, so both going with Ole Miss. Bryson's going to send me his picks hopefully today or tomorrow. I'm guessing. I'm doubting he'll send it tonight, but hopefully by tomorrow he'll send them. Next game, Kansas State. This is a Saturday game. Kansas State at Texas. Texas favored by 2.5. I just threw this game on here. Close spread. You never know. Josh, coming to you first. Who you got in this one?
All right, so Kansas, the Jayhawks went to Texas and beat them, which is pretty sad. I think Steve Sarkisian can rally the troops. I think he feels his seat getting hot already over there. I don't think they lose to both Kansas teams. Kansas State is pretty good, but I'm going to take Texas minus the 2.5.
Gotcha.
I might be done for doing that because Texas is not playing really well. But
gotcha. Preston, who you going with this one?
I'm going to differ from Josh just because all the magic's on me right now with the pick'ems. I just think Texas is not – I mean, they're not playing good at all. I mean, they really are just a sight for sore eyes. Kansas State, I mean, the record says they're better, but they're really not that much better, if anything, honestly, at all. The plus 2.5, I just feel like that's just really generous right now. Yes, it's on the road in Texas at noon, but I like Kansas State to win this game, and I think they're going to win it by at least 7+. So give me Kansas State, please.
Gotcha. All right, next game. Iowa at Nebraska. Iowa favored by 1.5. Preston, you're going first in this game. Who you got?
Iowa at Nebraska. You said Iowa's favored by what?
1.5.
1.5. Okay, so that is ridiculously close for a team that has 6 games in between them difference on the win-loss. But Nebraska has played everybody close this year. That's a tough one. Iowa should win this game. So give me Iowa minus 1.5. I just feel like they got to finish on a strong note for a 10-2 season. Nebraska, I think, the wheels might slowly start to fall off here, but I wouldn't be surprised if they played this game really close like Vegas says they might.
Gotcha. Josh, who you going with in this one?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Iowa as well. I mean, we're talking 4 weeks ago, they were number 2. And they still had, depending on what Wisconsin does, they still have a chance to make it to the Big Ten championship. Iowa does. But I do think that Wisconsin's going to make it on that side. But, yeah, I'm going to go with Iowa minus the 1.5.
Gotcha. Next game. Real big game here. Ohio State at Michigan. Ohio State favored by 7.5. Josh, got to come to you for the tough one here. Who you going with in this one?
Yeah, well, Michigan State beat Michigan, and then Ohio State just blew Michigan State out of the water. Michigan doesn't have really good offense. Their offensive numbers aren't good. Their defense is a lot better than Michigan State's. It is in Michigan. Jim Harbaugh is going to go for his first. He hadn't beat Ohio State. Ryan Day hadn't lost a Big Ten game. I think Ohio State pulls this out, but I think it's close. I think it's real close. I'm going to go with Michigan plus the 7.5.
Ooh, he's going Michigan plus 7.5. I knew Preston wouldn't, and I knew Josh knew Preston wouldn't. I think that's why he did this to.
I'm in his head. He's picking the wrong games. It's okay with me because this is the week that I go reclaim number 1 because you don't even have to ask me, Chris. I'm going to take Ohio State, lay the 7.5 because they're going to beat them big. I don't care what anybody says. This team is going to beat Michigan big. It's not even going to be close. And this is going to be one of those games that Jim Harbaugh has to scratch his head and talk to the boosters. I don't know what happened. He's going to be wearing his golf shoes on the sideline, his Jordan gloves. It's not going to help him because Ohio State is going to beat down on the Wolverines this Saturday. Book it because it's going to happen. That's my lock of the week.
I hate to tell you, I just got this weird feeling. I got this itch in my hand that this is going to be an upset. I really do. I think Michigan might pull it out. I don't know why. Don't ask me why. I'm just marking this down. I think Michigan's going to win.
I think Ohio State will win with some late game heroics. At the end of the game, they'll win by.
Doesn't Michigan got that really good running back?
Yeah, he's pretty good, Haskins.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I just got this weird feeling. All right, here we go. Next game. Josh's favorite game here. Alabama at Auburn. The Iron Bowl. Alabama.
Alabama. I hate this game.
I said Alabama. Alabama favored by 19.5. Preston, coming to you. Who you going with in this one?
Well, if you'd asked me a couple of weeks ago, and the line was the way it is, I would say Auburn because they had everything at home. They had Bo Nix, everything. You're minus Bo Nix. Yes, like Josh said earlier, this is Auburn's Super Bowl. This is their national championship game. And while I do think they're going to play them very tough, I don't think they're very tough is going to make this game very competitive, because give me Alabama in the points. I don't think that Alabama and Nick Saban are going to allow the Auburn Tigers to keep this game close at any point of this next 60 minutes that they're about to play. I like Alabama to use this as a tune-up game to take down the Bulldogs the next Saturday. Give me Alabama in the points, because that's going to happen. They're going to win by 21 plus.
Gotcha. All right. That's a big statement there. Josh.
So,
Josh, who you going with this one?
Yeah, I don't think TJ Finley can produce the offense to beat Alabama. Also, it's hard because if Alabama is up by 3 touchdowns in the third quarter, are they going to rest their players? Because Georgia will be resting their players after 5 minutes of the first quarter over in Atlanta when they play Georgia Tech. So they got literally Georgia's starters have 2 weeks off. Are going to have a week off before the game, and Alabama's going to be in a dogfight with Auburn because the way they play. But I'm gonna take Alabama in the 19.5. I can't really. I think Auburn player. I think the team has quit. Really.
Gotcha. I thought you might be a little bit different there. I don't know why.
The way South Carolina was able to come back on them, and South Carolina's not very good at all. The way they were able to come back on them, I just think this Auburn team may have laid down, and we'll see.
Gotcha. Next game, Oregon State at Oregon. Oregon coming off a big loss against Utah. Oregon still favored by 7.5. Josh, who you going with in this one?
Well, I think the Ducks are going to quack back. I think they're going to come back and they're going to beat the Beavers in the Civil War, and they're going to beat them by 2 touchdowns. So I'm going to go with the Ducks and my 7.5.
Preston, you don't look like you disagree there.
No, I was in my head. I was thinking of something else. No, I don't disagree with anything that Josh says. I just don't see Oregon State being able to do much in this game. They're vastly improved to what they have been in the past. I just think Oregon's got a lot to play for right now. They want to finish strong, get a good bowl pick. So give me Oregon to beat them in the 7.5.
Gotcha. All right, next game, Penn State at Michigan State. Penn State favored by 1.5 now after Michigan State just got blown out. Preston, coming back to you. Who you going with in this one?
Give me Michigan State. They just laid an egg versus Ohio State. They still have the worst pass defense in college football. Penn State and the coach, he just inked a massive contract, 10 years. I don't know. Going to Michigan State, maybe they get riled up. Neither one of these teams have much to play for except for good bowl bids here. So you give me Michigan State and the plus 1.5.
Gotcha. I mean, if you were their coach, you might be happy they'd be playing for a big bowl bid as much as you're excited about Clemson, over there playing for whatever they're playing for. So, anyway, all right, next, Josh, who you going with in that game?
All right, we're going to go with Michigan State. I think they're going to bounce back. I don't think Penn State's that good. I thought they were pretty good to start the year. There is potential for them to have a big passing game with their quarterback, but I'm going to go with Michigan State at home to bounce back and to win this game.
All right, Michigan State plus 1.5 from both of you guys. Next game, final game, unless you guys want to add one, we got Oklahoma at Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State favored by 3.5. Josh, coming back to you. Who you going with in this one?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Cowboys of Oklahoma State. I think Mike Gundy can get it done. Like I said earlier, their defense has only allowed 1 touchdown in the past 4 games. The other touchdown that was scored was a scooping score, so that was on their offense. Oklahoma State's defense is really surprising me out there in the Big 12. They got one of the top defenses, and I think they will prevail in Bedlam.
Gotcha. Preston, are you going to agree with him? Who are you going with?
I am going to agree with him here. I don't think Oklahoma is going to be able to muster up enough offense. Oklahoma State's defense is looking really good right now. If Oklahoma State wants to make it in the playoff, which I know Mike Gundy does, He's had a very long career in Oklahoma State, and he hasn't really had a lot to show for it. This is his chance. He has to win this Saturday. He has to win next Saturday, and he's got to hope something happens above him for them to give a chance to get into the top 4. Their road is still very drivable right now. They definitely had to take care of business, and I think this game in Bedlam this Saturday is going to be where they're going to mark their territory. So give me Oklahoma State -3.5.
Gotcha. So you guys were pretty similar on most of the picks, besides Texas and Kansas State, and then you had Ohio State and Michigan, correct? I believe that's the 2 different ones. So it's going to mean a lot. It can mean Preston's could be in the lead in winner percentage, or it could mean Josh is taking a bigger lead. I think Josh froze there for a second, and I think he's good. But, yeah, it could mean a lot here. What was I about to say? Is there any other games we're looking forward to this weekend or want to add or anything?
There's one that I was looking at, and it might not be too, prestigious to want to add in there, but I got the North Carolina Tar Heels and the North Carolina State Wolfpack. North Carolina State's -6 favorites, so -6.5 over North Carolina. This game is really important to Clemson, and so is the Wake Forest game, because we need Boston College to beat Wake Forest, and we need North Carolina to beat NC State. If both of those scenarios happen, Clemson plays for the ACC championship game.
Who?
Not going to give me this time.
Who cares?
All right. Not going to give me.
Anyway, no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, I got you. I did look at that game, adding that game, but I don't think we're going to add it. But we'll just stick because we already got a lot of games. No, we already got a lot of games on here.
It's okay, Christopher. It's an ACC school. It's okay. It's not as good as the SEC. I'm not going to add it.
Hey, I got an ACC SEC matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Florida and Florida State.
I did see that. I thought about adding that one too.
If you're Florida State, how do you prepare for this game with the head coach now gone at Florida, the defensive coordinator gone at Florida? What is Florida going to put out on the field? Like, how do you prepare? You don't know what they're going to do. I mean, I would imagine they would go with the same game plan they've been going with all year, but you never know.
Maybe Anthony Richardson comes in and throws for like 5 touchdowns. You never know.
That's an interesting matchup for me, and so is this Clemson South Carolina game.
Gotcha. Yeah, I forgot about Preston. What's your thoughts on the Clemson South Carolina game before we get into the next thing?
I feel really confident about the game. DJ showed me some things that he showed last year where he was able to, make his reads in the pocket, was able to step up when he needed to. He was able to utilize his big frame. He wasn't scared to get hits. Now, I do understand he has a tweaked knee right now, and that limits his mobility. Him not being a very mobile guy already, that knee injury, it kind of, holds him down. And he's not been really good throwing the ball this year. But the last couple weeks, he's been able to show progression. He's been able to put the ball where he needed to and keep the ball out of trouble. And he's been able to keep these Tigers in an ACC championship race. He's been able to keep this team, where they need to be from where they've lost so far in the season. I feel very confident. The only thing that gives me any heartache is that this game is at 7:30 in Columbia. Now, Williams-Brice, their stadium, they can falter sometimes. Their fans can either show up or they don't show up at all. If they show up, this could be a hostile environment that I have a little worries that Clemson wouldn't be able to perform at the highest level just because of how, young this team is, inexperienced this team is in the limelight right now, just because a lot of the people who have played in these big situation games aren't on this roster right now or they're hurt. I still like Clemson to take care of business and to beat them by more than the spread says. You said what?
What time is that game?
7:30.
Okay, it's a night game.
Yeah, it's 7:30, and Clemson's favored by 11.5. I could see them winning by 10. I could see them winning by 21. Clemson, not being a Clemson fan, they are vastly more talented than South Carolina right now. But South Carolina's got a couple of comeback, wins the last couple of weeks. And that Auburn win last week could give them, a boost of energy that they might need. They got some confidence right now. So that gives me a little bit of worries. But I don't think there's much besides that Clemson has to worry about. If they take care of business, they bring the same defense that they took care of business with Wake Forest last week, Connecticut a couple weeks before, Louisville when they stopped them on the goal line, and the Georgia when they kept them to 10. I feel very confident that Clemson can put enough points on the board to win the game, but they've got to take care of business. But I feel very confident that we can get another win around the Gamecocks. They can get another win around the Gamecocks.
Gotcha. And Georgia does play Georgia Tech, so hopefully if Georgia doesn't win that game,
Who?
we got problems. Yeah, we know.
Who cares?
Yeah, well, I'm just letting you know. But one thing I do hate about the Georgia and Alabama situation, game's at 4:00. That makes me even more worried. Like I said last week, I don't know, something about Alabama and playing them at 3:30, 4:00. Even though they're a close game,
the SEC championship games always played at 4.
Yeah, I know, but
are y'all going to that game?
I know it has been the last few years.
Are y'all going to that game? Why not?
No, I ain't got enough money to go to that game.
I got no money
Why
to
not?
go there.
Plus, I ain't got enough money. I ain't as rich as you.
Other games that day.
Gotcha.
Oh, I just looked at tickets, $500. I'm okay. I got the day off because I got to take care of some business with some family, but I definitely want to sit down and watch this game.
Yeah. All right. Last thing here. Our top 4. I'm guessing it's going to be pretty similar. Josh, we'll go to you first. Who's your top 4?
Yeah, I have Georgia, Ohio State, Alabama, and Cincinnati, the same as the playoff committee's top 4.
And I'm guessing Preston's going to do the same. Who you got, Preston?
Book it. I got Georgia at 1. They've done nothing to prove that they're not the number 1 team. I got Ohio State at 2 because, again, they've really caught fire the last couple weeks. They've taken care of business when they needed to. They take care of business this Saturday. They lock up the number 2 spot. I've got Alabama at 3 because I definitely think they're one of the 3 best teams in college football. And you got to book it, man. I've been saying it for weeks now, and I think everybody's finally agreeing with me. Cincinnati at number 4. I called it since week 1. Did I not?
Nobody's agreeing with you. Everybody else just fell off and died.
That I don't care what everybody else did. Did I not say that was going to happen? Did I not say that they were being the top 4 when they needed to be? I said it. I don't care. Don't make excuses.
Cincinnati still got to play. They still got to play them
SEC,
purple East Carolina, don't they?
Don't make excuses now. Don't make excuses now.
But the big game for them will be Houston in the championship. Their conference championship game will be
Houston's looking really good. They looked really good last Saturday too.
Yep.
So it's going to be interesting.
That'll be the test for.
Josh, did you have Alabama at 2 or 3?
I had them at 3.
Okay, so you had them at 3 too. Gotcha. Who's y'all's? Do you guys have like a 5 and 6 spot? Somebody looking in if Cincinnati does fall?
For me, I've got 5. I've got Michigan, and 6. I've got Notre Dame, just on the outside looking in. But honestly,
I'd rather
though,
Cincinnati make it the number 1 than Notre Dame.
The number 6 spot, you can honestly switch Oklahoma State for Notre Dame. I think either one of those I'd be okay with. So 5, 6, 7.
I got Oklahoma State at 6, Michigan at 5, and yep, that's what I got. And if Michigan State would have held that game a little closer with Ohio State, I would have Michigan at 4. But to get beat by a team that just gets and Michigan State's strong point is running the ball with Kenneth Walker III. And the problem with that game is their pass defense was so
Whoa! You broke up. Hold on, time out, Josh. Josh just turned into Wally. You're good.
Okay,
you're good now. Go ahead and finish your statement. What were you saying?
I was just saying that Michigan State had to get away from what they do best, and that's run the ball. During that game with Ohio State, it got out of hand real quick, and they couldn't run, and that was what they do the best with Kenneth Walker III. And like the game plan was screwed up once you get down 21-0.
Gotcha. Well, I think there's not too much more we have in this one. It's been pretty long because we've had to leave a couple times. But is there anything else you guys want to talk about? Week 13, anything? All right. I think that's it. Well, everyone have a good Thanksgiving. Appreciate you watching. Peace.